Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Reclaiming My Life. Tonight, we will be discussing abusive relationships. Why do women and men stay with their abusive partners? Well, that's a great question. As a child, I used to ask myself that question: why did my mother stay with her abusive boyfriend? I used to watch them fight, and she would have to cover her face, with makeup because of the bruises. And it was a horrifying sight, especially for a child. So my question is, why do people stay with an abusive partner? Different people have different reasons as to why. As me growing up as a young girl, watching my mother be abused, it took a toll on me. But I would have never thought that I would myself get into a relationship that was abusive. So in the beginning, I did see some red flags, and I didn't take heed to it. Why? Because he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I won't do it again. You know I love you." And that's what I would hear frequently. Um, I had children, and then, in my mind, I'm saying, okay, I need to stay, because I want my kids growing up in a, two family home with mom and dad. But in the end, I didn't realize that it was hurting my children as well as hurting myself. So I needed to get out. Um, it took a while, and it actually took 13 years for me to really leave. And some people say, why? How could you endure that for 13 years? All I can say is God allowed me to be strong for the sake of my children. God didn't allow that to happen, but He allowed me to be strong. I was able to press on. And once I was able to leave, God gave me the strength to leave. Um, I'm going to call my co-authors in because I want to pose that question to them. The question is, um, if you saw one of your friends being abused, would you say something or would you intervene? Let me call in Claudia.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Beautiful. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you this evening?
I am wonderful. So tonight we're discussing abusive relationships. So my question is, if you saw one of your friends being abused, would you say something or would you intervene?
I would. If it's my friend, I would definitely say something because, your friend, you don't want to see your friend being abused. You don't want to see your friends hurting. You don't want to see your friends suffering.
Right.
And me myself, I was in an abusive relationship, and abuse, I hear you, and I'm assuming that you're talking about you were in a physical abusive relationship.
Yes.
But okay, so we can be talking about emotional abuse,
Mm-hmm.
mental abuse, physical abuse,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, we never want to see anyone in that situation. When we have empathy for others,
Right.
it's hard to sleep at night knowing that a person is being abused, you
Exactly.
know. So, yes, I would intervene. Me, myself, I was in an abusive relationship for 2 years. I hear you, Tramika, 13 years, bless your heart, baby. You
Yes.
know, everybody can't do it, but we hear testimonies all the time
Hmm.
about how, I suffered for 30 years or
Right.
more, and then how they got out and reclaimed their lives, right?
Yes.
But for me, I knew, wait a minute, I can't do this. And what
Hmm.
was challenging for me was that I had just moved from my home in North Carolina all the way to Virginia. So, I'm in a new environment. I'm not around family.
Hmm.
I just married this man, and now he takes the mask off, And so, yes, it took me 2 years being in a new place, a new state, to find a new home to make sure that my kids were safe during these 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, for me, why did I stay? Because I heard you in the beginning. with the why. Why do we stay in these relationships? And I
Mm-hmm.
just want to touch on, because one reason we stay is before stability. Where do I
Mm-hmm.
go? I have a home. Another reason, finances. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I can't make it on my own. Another is low self esteem. Who else would want me? You know, um, there are many reasons why people stay in abusive relationships. And again, for me, that wasn't for me. And the abuse, to be clear, that I suffered was more emotional, more mental.
Right.
I was pushed to the floor. I've had a fist balled up in my face, but to
Mm-hmm.
actually ever hit me,
Mm-hmm.
and I thank God because I might not be sitting here right now. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So, but yes, I would intervene to this day. I would intervene and say, look, what do we need to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not having it. You need to get out of this situation, this relationship, and there are many resources available. And I can sit here and say this today, but for me, I didn't know that,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So, it's a blessing when we can come out of a situation and then, reach back and help someone else because now we know better.
Right. So I posed that question because I had a friend that was in an abusive relationship, and I wanted to help her.
Hmm.
And the reaction that I got from her was like, I couldn't believe it because I'm trying to help you. And she told me to mind my business. I don't know if it was out of fear,
Hmm.
and that could be possible. So it is different for different women. Like you said, it took you 2 years and me 13. Um, but I think I hid mine. But
Hmm.
I believe if I would have let someone know and they would have offered some help, I would have took the help. I wouldn't say, mind your business. Um,
Hmm.
and then in that situation, I thought about it. Why would she tell me that? We're friends. You know,
Right.
um, is she that afraid? Is he threatening to kill her? Or you just never
Hmm.
know. But like you said, there
Hmm.
are so many resources. And at
Right.
the time, I didn't seek resources.
Hmm.
I
And
don't know.
I'm sorry.
I said I don't even know why I didn't seek resources. But like you said,
Hmm.
there's plenty out there.
Right, right. And listening to you, with your friend's response, mind your business.
Hmm.
Yes, that could be mind your business before I get killed, or it could be mind your business. I
Right,
love him,
right, right. Exactly.
you
It,
know.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you on that. So let's
Hmm.
bring in Dr. Tyson.
Hello, hello, ladies. How you
Hi.
Hi,
doing?
Dr. Tyson.
Yeah. So Dr. Tyson, same question. If you saw one of your friends being abused, would you say something or intervene?
Most definitely, as Claudia was saying, we want to be empathetic with our friends. We don't want to see them hurt because when
Hmm.
they hurt, we hurt. And if
Right.
they're going through, we're going through, we can't sleep at night. We're stressed
Hmm.
about what's going on. We're calling and trying to figure out. So yes, definitely, how can I help you? Or let's come up with a plan, or tell me what's going on. What do you need? And helping that person try to make an escape route.
Right.
And what's interesting, you said earlier that your friend said, mind your own business, as Claudia said. Sometimes it's an embarrassment. Sometimes
Hmm.
you don't want people to know that you're dealing with this. And because they may question you. Sometimes people judge one another. And
Hmm.
so when people come to you with abuse, so definitely not being judgmental, because when you're judgmental, that's a turnoff, and they're like, well, I don't want to share my information with you because you're asking me, why am I still in this situation? Because
Right.
most people, when they hear that, they were like, that could never be me. But
Hmm.
again, you never know what the reason is why people stay in relationships. Again, it could be fear, or maybe they have been abandoned as a younger child, and they know what it's like to feel abandoned, and so they don't want to abandon that person that they love. Or sometimes they don't want to be talked about amongst their family or friends. Wow, they just got married. They get ready to divorce already. And,
Mm-hmm.
they can't keep a man because,
Right.
people talk, but you can't worry about what people say because they don't know what's going on in that house at the end of the day. Only you know what's going on in that house at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day. And so, people can't worry about what other people think about them because you never know what's going on until you actually walk them out. What they say, walk them out in that person's shoes, right?
Right.
So definitely intervening. Other reasons people stay, as Claudia said, financial reasons. Sometimes the man or the woman can be the main breadwinner of the house, and
Mm-hmm.
they may not have other means of transportation. Sometimes families only have one car, and that man drops them off at work and then comes back and picks them up, and that's their only resource for transportation. And
Right.
so it's different reasons why people stay.
Right. Thank you, ladies, so much for that. So as I was reading up on this, I went to the Bible. I want to see um, if there's anything in the Bible about abusive relationships. And it says that God does not like abuse, viewing it as sinful and unacceptable. And he delights in rescuing the oppressed. That's in 2 Samuel 22 and 49. So we also have other examples of abuse in the Bible. It says that Abigail was married to an emotionally abusive husband, Nabal, which is described as surly and mean and insulting and wicked by people who knew him best. So me, when I was in my relationship, I at that time I didn't think to even go to the Bible, to seek any kind of information, clarity, or even prayer, to be honest. I wasn't in that space that at that time.
Mhm.
So I would have never even read this. It also said that Delilah nagged Samson day after day until he was sick to death of it. And that's in Judges 16 and 16. So here we see in the word that there was abuse as well, you know. Um, so tonight's topic, I wanted to speak on this because there's a lot of women and men, I
Mhm,
would say, and men, because I've also
Mhm.
had some friends who were male and they had verbally abusive wives.
mhm.
And I would always wonder, why is he with her? So this topic is very important for, women and men out there that may be going through this. Claudia, do you want to add anything else to this?
No, this is a very good topic, and I'm glad, we're actually discussing it tonight because, as we've talked about in the past, this is one of the things that people going that are this is one of the things people are going through,
Mm-hmm.
domestic violence. And, we, the authors of Reclaiming My Life, and we here on the podcast, of course, our mission is to encourage and motivate them to reclaim their lives. So, I just want to say that my prayer tonight is that, they're listening, they're motivated, they're encouraged, they hear your testimony and my testimony, and that it gives them hope that they too can reclaim.
Yes, ma'am. And you said back in the book, we did have two co-authors that
Hmm.
actually wrote about abuse as well.
Right.
So yes, ma'am, definitely. We know that abuse is neither patient nor kind, but instead is quick to flare up at small offenses. So it could take
Yes.
maybe just the smallest little thing, and a person could flare up. It could be emotionally, physically, mentally, but it's not right at all, regardless of what kind of abuse it is. It's not right.
Hmm.
Dr. Tyson, you want to chime in?
I just want to say, if someone is out there listening tonight, don't be afraid to speak up and to get help. Yes, abuse did become more, I would say, more prevalent recently due to COVID, and people were shut up in houses with one another, and they weren't able to get out, and so there was a lot of abuse that was experienced, and so definitely there is help out there. Seek help. Don't be ashamed. This is a platform that, again, we are here to, as Claudia said, to encourage and inspire others to help them reclaim their life, to remind them that there is hope.
Right. Thank you. So, according to the Bible's definition of love, should an emotional abuser be silently tolerated? Does love require that one overlook the abuse and go on through the pain? That's a good question, right?
Yes.
Well, the answer to both of those questions is no. There are loving options other than tolerating the status quo. Abuse is a learned behavior, and if we allow it to happen and continue, we are in fact accepting it. We cannot and should not accept verbal or emotional abuse for at least two reasons. It dishonors the Lord, and it often escalates to physical abuse. So if you or anyone you may know is going through abuse, stop it now. See the red flags. Get out so you can reclaim your life.